This week, Andre Robertson agreed to a 3-year, $30 million deal to remain with the team. I can't believe I'm asking this. Dave, do you think OKC has done enough to convince Westbrook to stay long-term?
I mean, not for him to decide right today,
right.
But they did everything they possibly could to put their best foot forward and say, we care about you, we care about winning. We got the marquee guy this summer. Everybody wanted him, and we got him. That proves the type of franchise we're about.
It's kind of amazing that 1 year ago, I mean, it was almost to the day, right? So July 4th last year is when Kevin Durant leaves, and it took them less than a year to find a new star. Now, I know Paul George may not stay there. I know Russell Westbrook may not stay there. But the fact that they were able to do this in 1 year, and let's go back to some of the moves that allowed that to happen. Just locking up Oladipo on that contract, okay? It's not a good contract. But the fact that they did that and then had cost certainty with him in a way that they could flip him to Indiana and they could take a chance on the Hoosier coming home. Maybe he can resurrect his career. And getting Sabonis in the draft day trade for Serge Ibaka. The way that they made those moves just a year out set them up to be able to make a move like this. And I think, you look at small market franchises, when somebody leaves, how long did it take Cleveland to recover after LeBron left the first time?
4 years.
I mean,
until he came back.
Well, yeah, until he came back. Okay? Most of the time when something like that happens, when Kevin Durant leaves your franchise, you are in the lottery for the next 5 years.
See, this is the thing about what I was mentioning in the monologue. You can do a lot of things right, and it still doesn't work out. I thought Dallas, when they won their championship, rather than lock in the Tyson Chandler, who was getting older, and lock in the Jose Juan Barea and those guys, they said, no, let's stay flexible because there are going to be stars coming up and we want to be able to get them. That wasn't a bad strategy. It just didn't work out because sometimes the chips don't fall the way you want them to do. Sam Presti, one of the things that pains me, and I use that very lightly, but it pains me that people say Sam Presti's a bum. This dude's one of the smartest.
People say that?
Yeah. A lot of people say that. A lot of ignorant people say that, I should say, because
they bring up the Harden trade.
They bring up the Harden trade and they say you let go of Durant. But you don't look at all the good things that he did along the way to put themselves in these positions. And again, like you said, there were a lot of people lining up for Paul George with a lot better offers out there.
The other thing, we're not talking about this yet, okay? But we have a whole summer to get through show, right? We're going to be doing shows this whole summer. If Russell Westbrook does not commit, okay, he knows the money's not going anywhere. He's watching to see what they do. But, okay, they already did what they were going to do. They went and got you Paul George. So this summer, Russell's got to decide if he wants to sign that extension. If he signs it, now his next job is to keep Paul George there. If he doesn't sign it, oh boy.
It's like, what side of the aisle are you standing on?
But he shouldn't commit. Why would, if you were Russell Westbrook, would you commit now?
There's no
plus size to that.
Right?
You wait to see how you can actually play with Paul George. You wait to see if everybody stays healthy. You wait, all those mitigating factors. You wait, you push.
And then the Thunder gets more and more uncomfortable. Every day that goes by that you don't sign that deal.
They're already uncomfortable in that division, the toughest division in basketball this year. Speaking of Andre Robertson, we only mentioned him briefly. He's featured in our Summer League Distant Replay from this day in 2014.
3 years,
I'm so excited for this. Let's see, I haven't even seen this play. What is it? Oh, it's in Orlando, so we got the low camera angle.
Ooh,
okay!
Ooh, two-handed.
Yeah.
I like that.
Booty cats. That's what I see.
Woo! Oh, he just got out the way.
Is that Maurice Indor? Who is it? No, that's Philadelphia app. Live from Miami. It's time for Make or Miss. First up, make buckets. Markelle Fultz with the spin, step back, hezzy jumper, and yesterday's Summer League action. Mona, are you excited to watch Fultz in the Sixers next season?
Yeah, I'm kind of into that. I've been watching a lot of that Summer League so far between him and Jason Tatum. Those rookies look good.
I can't wait for Saturday. Miss buckets. Klay Thompson's in China, throwing off his handles, then chucks up an air ball. He also got rim checked by a 360 dunk attempt last week. And he was dancing. Dave,
it's not even close.
It's time for Klay to come on home, man.
Didn't he ink a new deal with Ante while he was out there?
$80 million.
So stay as long as you need to. Make sure those checks clear.
Like he said, he just got off the plane. Yeah, okay, but it's been like a week. Is he still jet lagged?
I'm not mad at you. No, forget jet lag. That's money lag right there, like Dave said. Man. Spaghetti. Timothy Mozgov is holding some sort of rap battle at a KFC in Russia. Reminds me of my man Delonte West. Do you wish you could attend?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I would throw down with him.
You've been around him. Does Timo have bars?
Yeah, he does. He has the confidence to pull it off. I don't know if he actually has the skill behind it, but he has the confidence.
Dude, Timo's kind of cool. I got to know him last year in LA.
Can he rap?
Yes.
He once told me
I'm just
in
saying
Russia,
that confidently because I believe in
we ride bears.
Nice.
What?
Yes.
Miss worries. The Cavs have no GM and have done absolutely nothing in free agency, but LeBron doesn't seem too bugged about it on his vacation. Dave, You think LBJ is actually a little peeved?
He is. He absolutely is. But he doesn't let it dominate his life.
Right.
Go live your life, man. It looks
He's
beautiful.
rocking out to Michael Jackson in that.
And J. Cole.
Yeah.
Shout out to J. Cole.
And
The tour starts tonight in Phoenix. And this just in, at the buzzer. The Mavs are in the process of filing a 2-year, wait for it, $10 million deal with Dirk Nowitzki.
Total or
according
per
to
year?
our Tim McMahon.
Wow.
The second season of the deal will be a team option, the source said.
Dirk.
Ramona, how much did Dirk
This
cost
has got to
himself by
stop.
declining his option?
Unless they have some kind of like consultancy lined up for him after he retires.
Don't put that evil out there.
$5 million a year consultancy. I mean, come on, stop, Dirk. Just get Mark Cuban's money, man.
Yeah, I don't like it. You deserve more, Dirk. You deserve more.
Maybe he'll host the European
look,
version of Shark Tank when he retires.
Exactly.
You know,
The
pay him a lot.
German Shark Tank.
Is this going to help the Mavs win a title the next 2 years?
Probably
No,
not.
it's just going to have a Mark
But you know what? Look, I like the message that it sends that he's like, look, I don't care as long as this keeps helping the team.
Being taken advantage of.
You pay me on the back end. Thanks a lot, Dave. Ramona, you're going to be in Vegas tomorrow.
I'll see you there.
Dave, you'll be back here with me, right?
For sure.
All right, we'll do the show again. Summer League action. I'm so excited for this. We're going to be there this weekend. You guys excited?
Yeah, but I'm bracing for it.
Look at
Bracing
this.
for
Come
my
on.
God.
Come on.
Look
What do
at
you have
that,
to
look at
brace
that.
for? Look at that. Our camera guy right there.
Oh, wait, I don't need all
I
of
haven't
that.
seen a play like that since Darren Williams in the
I don't need all of that.
Oh, man. That's harsh. Too harsh. Too soon.
Right?
Welcome to The Jump. I'm Amino Hassan. I'm in for Rachel Nichols. I'm joined by Ramona Shelburne and making his jump debut, Nick Tan, Dave McMenamin.
Is that what we're doing for you?
You guys could get a little bit more excited.
Glad to be here.
Let's try.
All right. 7 years. So all you can ever count on as an organization from a star player. You draft him in the first round. Most likely he's a lottery pick. He blows up. He becomes the face of your franchise. And then before the start of his 4th year on rookie scale, he agrees to the max extension. And of course he agrees to it because no one has ever turned down the max extension on a rookie scale deal. If he's risk averse, he'll take the full 5 years you offer. If he's a bit savvier, though, he'll bet on himself with a 3+1 deal so he can opt out and jump back into free agency. Either way, you have that minimum of 7 years of guaranteed time to show your star player that you are an organization that is both serious about and capable of winning a championship. Any time above and beyond that is cream cheese. Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, they all gave their franchises at least 7 years to get their acts together. See, drafting a superstar is not the be-all, end-all. Rather, it's the start of a long journey of decisions, which ultimately either land you a long, fruitful relationship, see Steph Curry and the Warriors, or a parting of ways. Further roster enhancements, picking and sticking with the right playbook, making further correct draft picks. These decisions all matter. So if you're screwing around with instability in your front office, Cleveland, or a revolving door of coaches, Sacramento, or a history of mistreating your players, New York, you're in essence writing the death certificate to your relationship with your star. Even as you feel like you're treating him as well as possible, what more could he ask for? And yes, there are mechanisms within the CBA designed to give the home team added leverage, money. The truth is, bearing a substantial amount of cash overage, players in their primes will choose what's best for their careers, as they should. Which brings us to young Gordon Hayward, formerly of the Utah Jazz. Drafted in 2010, the Jazz have seen him flourish from dorky computer science geek to handsome jock, from country bumpkin to man about town, from a kid people often confuse with Lazar Hayward, no relation, to the #1 free agent on the market. Could Utah have done anything differently? They put together a solid roster with a nice mix of vets and young guys that was well coached, and it was a rather complete team, and one of the best defensive teams in the NBA over the last few years. In a perfect world, they were well on their way to competing for a title. But we don't live in a perfect world, guys. And even as the Jazz did most everything right, they couldn't control for the massive imbalance between West and East. They couldn't control for Hayward's college coach to be leading one of the strongest East teams. And they certainly couldn't control for the rise of the greatest team in NBA history to dominate from within their conference. That's not to say they didn't make mistakes along the way. Not trading for Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson in contract years comes to mind. But it's to point out there are a lot of factors led to us to this, much like a lot of factors had to fall in line for Durant to leave his team a year earlier to the day. If you're a team or a fan of the team, you have 7 years from draft day to D-Day to get it right. Anything after that, you better be prepared for a life after losing them. For Utah's troubles, Hayward delivered the news in the worst way possible yesterday, contradicting a leaked report by Chris Haynes. giving folks 5 hours of false hope before confirming that he was in fact leaving. Guys, how bad did he mess this up?
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
Like, when Chris Haynes reports this, and by the way, like, Chris Haynes was right. Like, I don't care what anybody says afterwards. That letter was written. His decision was made. He knew what he was going to do. I mean, my understanding is that it was going to come out in 20 minutes afterwards anyway, which is... So when that comes out, when that report, just own it, back it up. Don't, just because you didn't get to call Utah and you had a failure in process and a breakdown in your own communications team. By the way, it wasn't just Chris who reported. Chris broke it, and then four other reporters confirmed it. So this is not just like one person who leaked it. This is everybody who knew what was going on. Just own it, because what happened, Amin, is the 5-hour delay where they were saving face and making everyone feel better, it cost them Otto Porter. It cost them valuable hours that they could have been trying to move on and move forward, and then gave them false hope, and it just made it all that much more worse.
It cost them more than just a couple 100,000 clicks on the Players Tribune website. Like, that, to me, was the one thing that they clearly lost that day. But what did he do wrong in terms of the Utah Jazz fan base? I'm not so sure he did anything like that. You know, Dennis Lindsey comes out and says that at some point there would be some adjectives I would ascribe to what went down. That's Dennis Lindsey making himself look better than Dan Gilbert, than LeBron did on the way out the door. But Gordon Hayward said all the right things in his letter that was published.
Thank you, Utah.
Yeah, it was just came out too late.
I felt like Dennis Lindsey's comments were not about Gordon Hayward leaving us.
That's
it was about, dude, just like you said, just own it and let us move on. Let us get on to other things. Shout out to Chris Haynes, though. He did have the tweet of the weekend.
Oh, my God.
The Hulk Hogan. That was a mic drop moment there. But it is interesting to see people react so violently, right, to the idea of Gordon Hayward leaving them high and dry, you know. You're wondering if Jazz fans have a right to be mad at Hayward. Well, here we pulled something from the archives when he got drafted in 2010. Take a look.
Gordon Hayward from Butler University.
Look at this. And not only did they boo him on that day, but when he became a rookie free agent off his rookie scale, he could have gotten the max. They did not offer. They said, hey, go out and get an offer, and we'll match. And what ended up happening with the Charlotte Hornets, remember the Cavaliers actually were very interested, Dave.
Absolutely.
But the Hornets were the ones that gave him the offer sheet, a 3+1, and that's why we're here today, where he is able to choose where he wants to play without fear of reprisal.
Yeah, and I understand there's people in Utah who are probably hurt because, from what I'm told, Gordon told them, I want to play with a pass-first point guard. I'd love to play with Ricky Rubio. Go out and get him. Well, they did. And Joe Ingles is my best friend. Well, they kept him. So they did the two things that Gordon told them were important to him, and they felt like they had a really good chance of keeping him because of that. But you know what? I think you know your player. And dealing with it, I think the Jazz should have had an inkling, should have known, should have had a feeling. I mean, I think when you go back and talk to Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder, they really thought they were going to keep Kevin Durant too. But the last few days, the way people act, the way things go, you get a feeling. And I think the Jazz, they understood. They understood where they were and what he was thinking about.
But, like, do we ever really know until the moment?
No.
I was hearing rumors over the weekend that, Gordon Hayward's wife really likes Miami.
Right.
And she's pushing for that to happen. And they're probably hearing that. And maybe at some point the Utah Jazz front office thought, getting those guys was the final move they could make. You had to be willing to make that move to be able to do business. The Cavs, when they were trying to get LeBron James, they had to trade away all these players so they could offer him a max contract just to be able to be in the conversation.
There's got to be a plan B, plan C to all these things.
Okay, but can we be real?
What?
Gordon Hayward's not LeBron James. Gordon Hayward's not Kevin Durant.
Well,
he was a big free agent, but it's not on the same level as those guys.
And on that note, Players Tribune, relax a bit with some of these columns.
Right.
Relax. We didn't need the Kyle Lowry, I'm coming home. Just saying. Let's talk now about the East. Dave, how does Hayward's move affect Boston's chances in the East?
Well, to me, it's all about what they do to actually make the deal happen.
Right.
Who they give up. If it's a Jay Crowder or a Marcus Smart, or, if it's Avery Bradley, I think that's maybe a step backwards along with the step forward. So I have to see that play out first. I have to see if Isaiah Thomas is going to come back from the same hip injury that ended Johnny Flynn's NBA career before I'm ready to say
Syracuse.
Where did you just pull that from? Like, that was like...
Yeah.
Johnny Flynn. That's what I think of when I think of hip injury.
Clearly, yeah. Johnny Flynn's clearly relevant in 2017. Come on.
Clearly. Yeah, but like when you look at Boston, like Jay Crowder's probably the most likely guy to move here because he plays small forward, and if you haven't noticed, Jason Tatum plays small forward, and so does Jaylen Brown, and so does Gordon Hayward, the guy that just went outside. So bye, Jay. Right? And he's the guy. Remember, he criticized Boston fans for being so receptive to Gordon when he came to play at the Garden.
Maybe that's why.
Okay.
Maybe that's why.
But can we break down why the Celtics even have to think about this? The salary cap was supposed to go up to $102 million. It didn't. It was more like 99. So the Celtics thought they had another $2.5 million of breathing room here to pull this off. Now, I went through this complicated series of moves, and shout out to Bobby Marks, who helped us like figure out all the moves that they have to make. But they started by renouncing Kelly Olynyk. Then they have to renounce 3 or 4 more other guys. Right. Then they have to keep their first-round draft pick from last year overseas in Europe. Then they have to trade Rozier. Then they have to trade somebody. Like, there's so many moves that they have to make just to get close to the max. And even then, they are $300,000 short. So Gordon Hayward, who's signing his max contract, could just say, you know what, let me just take a little haircut.
Yeah.
Let me just take a
we're not in that business.
Nope,
we're not in that business. You find another contract to trade into space, and then you got it. Look, it's not Gordon Hayward's job to do Danny Ainge favors. Danny Ainge said, I can give you max. There's a reason why he left Utah. There's a reason why he said no to Miami. It's because Danny Ainge said, I could give you max. And so now that's Danny Ainge's job to work around that. We have to take a commercial break, but plenty more to come on The Jump.
More